The Charleston real estate market is absolutely shifting, and so there's some important information that you need to know about just so you know what's coming up ahead. Initially, according to NAR, home sales were supposed to increase and prices were also supposed to increase this year by about 2.6%. Now, what we're actually seeing is that the number of home sales year to date in comparison to last year in the same time frame is actually down 10% right now. And I think it's actually going to slow down even more. So what does this mean for home buyers, home sellers, and also home owners? It's not that bad. Prices are actually still going up. We're still seeing appreciation. You know, the high interest rates are actually driving the affordability down, and so that's why there's fewer buyers out in the market. There's also a lot of homeowners that have these low interest rates and they don't want to give them up and sell their home, right? But we still have people that do want to sell, and we're actually back to what I would say is more of a normal market. So even though home sales are down by 40% as it compares to a few years ago, you know, it's still a healthy market because we still have few listings and there's still quite a few buyers. That's why we're still seeing homes appreciate. Now, one thing that's also happened is like inventory levels are actually increasing in the market. The number of homes available. So for buyers, it's great. You have more choices. And for the typical listing, you don't have to deal with multiple offers. In addition to that, a lot of sellers are paying for buyers' closing costs, and sellers are also negotiable on the price of their home. They're also accepting home sale contingencies. Now, these are things that were a time in the past a few years ago when the market was red hot. But now that those things are back, you know what it reminds me of? A normal market. You know, it's funny, people put in perspective to just a few years ago and they have amnesia of what happened the last 20 years. But I'll tell you, I've had more times in more markets selling homes when interest rates are between 5 and 7 than I had at 3. And so that market's a total anomaly. And now that it's shifted back to these current rates, we're back in a normal market. You know, inventory levels are a little bit higher, which gives buyers more options. It's a more comfortable and relaxed buying experience. Even if you're a home seller, you know, inventory is still low enough and there's still a lot of buyers that I'm able to generate you multiple offers in just one visit from many buyers, so the market's still hot. But what you might see is that there's still a lot of people that way overshoot the market with their price. And for a home seller that is realistic and does want to sell, that's a good thing for you because you can come underneath them and still sell your home for more money than you thought you could have, but you're still priced below the people that are, you know, whose heads are in the clouds and how much they could sell their home for. But more importantly than ever, pricing your home correctly right now is critical. You know, a few years ago, you could get ambitious and put a home out there for an ambitious price, and it would probably sell. You know, there are a lot of situations where it just surprised me. But today, that doesn't happen anymore. That's a thing of the past. You know, so pricing is one of the most critical things you have to be wary of in this year's market. The other thing too is make sure it's very well positioned as far as staged, and that repairs are done and it shows well. Because as more homes come on the market, which is what you're seeing, there's more competition, so buyers have more choices to look at, so you really want to stand out from the crowd. So if you're a buyer, this is a great competition. More inventory means more homes to choose from, and as I mentioned, there's a lot of people that still think it's a frothy market. I've literally heard somebody say that recently, and you know, way overshoot the price and what they want to put their home in the market for. And so there's a lot of people out there that have their home overpriced, but right now they're coming down to reality because they need to sell. And they're oftentimes, because they overshot the market and sat on the market for a while, they're now selling for below market value. And so there's a lot of great opportunities out there where, you know, this year alone, you know, we've gotten, you know, at least 10 homes, like $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 off of the sales price and incentives towards our clients. So right now is a great time to go out and negotiate. It's still a good time for a seller if you price correctly. And that's where you're gonna get top dollar for your home. Inventory levels are still low enough, and there's still a lot of people that are way overpriced, that the people that are like within the right range are, you know, maybe 25%. And so it's actually easy for you to get top dollar for your home because there's a lot of people that don't have a realistic sales price that will eventually sell for way less than what your home will. And the projection for interest rates are that they should probably stay in the 6s for the remainder of the year. You know, I know that, you know, stock market just went down quite a bit and so on, and and we're going to continue to see some volatility there. And if the stock market, declines, then usually interest rates go down too. So who knows what we might see with that? We might see them go into the 5s, but unless anything crazy happens, I think they'll probably stay in the 6s, which is why I've created a program that's really important for people this year. And that's our 4% interest rate. It's your sell your home, keep the rate program. And even if you're a buyer that doesn't have a home to sell, we have this opportunity through 5 different partners where we have very low interest rates to offer. And so give us a call. We could strategize with you on which is the best opportunity. And it doesn't require a large down payment or exceptional credit score either. So this isn't like an anomaly, 1 out of 100 people can get this kind of interest rate. We're getting it for a lot of our clients. And I think the key for buyers right now, if the right home at the right price comes in the market, you do have to jump on it because those homes go very quickly. There's still enough buyers out there that are active and looking to buy. But once a home's been sitting there for 10, 14 days is when we start to get into that good sweet spot of negotiating with sellers and getting a lot off the home and getting a lot of concessions and favorable terms for you. And so it's fun being able to go out there and negotiate, tens of thousands, if not 100,000 plus, off the price of a home. And sellers still have a great opportunity, but pricing and presentation is everything. If you do want to sell for top dollar, you have to understand that. It's very important. And so the other cool opportunity too is you could sell right now and still get into a very low interest rate with one of our 5 partners that we have that can get you that low interest rate. And most sellers' fears right now is that if they sell, they're gonna go up that low rate and they have a higher one and their payment goes up. Well, we have a solution for that. So give us a call today so we can talk you through that. And statistically right now, homes that are priced well and staged well, they're selling at full asking price in less than 7 days. Homes that are overpriced are taking on average 90 days and selling for about 7% below asking price. So in our market, that's about $35,000 below value. And usually for them to even get an offer, that person that overshot the market, they take price reductions, and when they get to where they need to be, the offers come in way lower, right? And now you're selling for a lot lower than you could have if you would have priced it correctly to begin with, because when you price it correctly to begin with, you get asking price for it. Opposed to coming down to where your asking price should have been and then the offers come in lower. Happens every single time. And that's why it's important to meet with us so you can get a equity evaluation and a staging report where we can show you our process on how we market homes, prep homes, price homes, and give you a great experience. So that way you can see how you can sell for top dollar. And it's worth it for you to meet with us, even if you don't want to work with us because you already have somebody else in mind. You can learn a lot just from the meeting and take this information and work with somebody else if that's what you want. However, I will say that nobody has sold as many homes as we have, especially this year and in the years past, where this is the right process to sell. So again, even if you're committed to working with somebody else, it's worth meeting with us just so you can see this information. And also take advantage of the fact that within one visit from us, even without signing a listing agreement, we'll bring you multiple offers from multiple buyers for you to consider before you list. And a lot of people have asked how we're able to do that, and that's through our enhanced marketing package. And through that, we have our Zillow Showcase presence. We also have our AI digital driven ads, our massive exposure through all kinds of platforms that you could possibly put your home on, whether that's Facebook or Meta or Instagram or email or your custom-made website or strategic phone calls and text messaging to the right buyers. But getting buyers your home's information that are high intent buyers that are gonna make you good cash offers is what we go for. And if you're worried about selling before you have your next option lined up, we don't worry about that. We have our flexible moving program where if you haven't figured out what you want to do next, you can still sell your home and live there for up to a year rent-free. And that way it gives you time to figure out what to do next. So the Charleston market is changing fast. What we're expecting is a little bit of appreciation this year, probably not double digits, maybe somewhere in the 3 to 4% range. Sales are probably gonna be about 10% lower than they were last year, right? It's a great time to go out and buy right now because you can negotiate, tens if not hundreds of $1,000s off a price of a home right now and lock in a low interest rate through our Keep the Rate program. So there's a combination of a lot of great things, and as soon as those interest rates do come down for everybody else, the market's gonna take back off again, and we're gonna see double-digit appreciation. And if you wait to buy for when that happens, then you're gonna miss the boat. You're gonna pay so much more for a home. So instead of taking advantage of getting a massive discount, you're not gonna buy at market rate at that point. You're gonna buy way above because, again, we're gonna be in multiple bidding wars. Home prices are gonna be increasing. So waiting around for that low rate to hit doesn't make any sense because we can give you that today and you can get that low price today. So give us a call if you wanna learn more. I look forward to talking to you. Thank you so much.